Well, hello there. Greetings and welcome. This is the New Thought Media Network. I'm Ken Ludwig, and you are watching Vibrant Living. Hope this day finds you safe, healthy, and happy, and that you are just living your best life. Living a dream, whatever it is, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Hope it's just the best you can do and the best you can be, and that you're enjoying yourself, that you're having a good time. That to me is the starting point for vibrant living, or maybe it's the ending point for vibrant living. Anyway, we start every show with a reading from this thing called You by Dr. Ernest Holmes. And let's just open this baby up. And we come to one of those rare pages where there's no quote. So what we do is we just turn the page and we come with this. Someday, when you sit down by the roadside, weary with struggle, you will listen deeply, and you will hear a voice saying, "This is the path, follow it." Even then I shall wait, for you are you, and you cannot return to your Father's house other than as a complete and perfect individualization of myself. Always I shall be waiting. I shall not reproach you when you return. You will be welcome. The time of your return is in your own decision. If it may, it may be now or at any time in that vast forever which stretches before you. That's a great just quote from Ernest Holmes regarding the idea that we don't return to God so much as we just refuse to leave. And let's read it again. Someday, when you sit down by the roadside, weary with struggle, you will listen deeply, and you will hear a voice saying, "This is the path, follow it." Even then I shall wait, for you are you, and you cannot return to your Father's house other than as a complete and perfect individualization of myself. Always I shall be waiting. I shall not reproach you when you return. You will be welcome. The time of your return is in your own decision. It may be now, or it may at any time, but maybe at any time in that vast forever which stretches before you. I really truly love that. It is the idea that it's the prodigal son is what it is, and we are all, each and every one of us, in one way, shape, or form, the prodigal son. And we all of us here at different times in our lives, depending on whether it's a little voice or it's a set of circumstances or a particular decision, we all come to that point where it's like, this is the path, follow it. Sometimes that path leads us away from our good. Sometimes it leads us right to our good. But regardless of which direction, it is the decision that we make to go hither and yon, if you will. The key piece, though, in that reading is once again that age-old thing that I say over and over and over again, which is never lose sight of God. Never lose track of that God self. I had an interesting conversation today. I went to the doctor to draw blood for an upcoming doctor visit. Just, general lab work. And there's a lovely young lady there. Her name is Jennifer. She sits at the front desk, and then there's like this doctor's office is very interesting. They have like this big, long front desk, and there's 4 different stations where there are young ladies there, and they are all patient services coordinators. They are not receptionists because they do a lot more than that. And I had this conversation with this lovely young girl. Her name is Jennifer, very open-minded. My Lisa keeps telling me that I am attracting these people to me. This is somebody who is very open-minded. She is a Christian. She shouldn't say anything denigrating, but she totally got the idea that she needs to be voting for a Democrat, that she's not going to vote Republican. She got that idea. That was part of our conversation. But she led me back to the area where they do the labs, where they take your blood, blah, blah, blah. But she led me back there. And before she even wrote my name down on the pad in front of the girl who checks everybody in, we talked for 5 minutes probably. And it was really, really interesting to talk to someone who was bright, sunshiny, alert, alive, just smart, bright. There's usually, my experience is there's no dummies working in medical offices. I mean, they have to have a certain amount of expertise and intelligence to qualify to do that work. And she does lots of stuff on the computer. She does all kinds of things in that office. And it was just great to have that conversation with her around the open-mindedness, around the difference between, in my mind anyway, my explanation of the difference between the idea from all religions that God is everywhere, and my idea of the metaphysical interpretation, which is there's no place where God is not. And she actually stopped and she went, huh, no place where God is not. I said, that means God is in every cell of your being, and God is in the spaces between every cell of your being. And she got that, and she got it immediately. And it resonated even with her Christian belief system, which I found fascinating. But anyway, nice conversation. Lisa keeps saying I'm attracting to me, big quotes, like-minded people. They're not 100% like-minded because they're, mostly in this part of the world. I'm going to find more Christians than I am metaphysicians by a long shot. But they're open. The intelligent people are open to a conversation about more than just what their little information silo brings to them. So that's fascinating. I put out there today that the subject matter was going to be vibrant living, and what is it to you? Vibrant, and that comes from a conversation I had yesterday with a friend of mine who was just talking to me about who I am. Basically, he was talking about to me about the fact I'm 73 years old. I am I'm someone who takes good care of myself. I do all the right supplements. I don't do supplements. I don't do supplements just in general. I do supplements for cause. In other words, everything that I take has a purpose to it. I don't take a multivitamin. I get my cellular nutrition from great plant-based shakes that are all food sourced. They're not artificial chemicals that so many supplements are. And I exercise. Those of you who watch the show know I go to my senior center here, which has a very modest gym at which I work out for anywhere from 75 to 90 minutes, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm in better shape than I've been in 20 years. I just said this for the first time the other night, that I hadn't really thought about this, but I mentioned it the other night that I have probably added 7 or 8 pounds of muscle to my body, which at 72 into 73 that to me says, wow, nice job, is how I feel about it. I think it's pretty damn good on me, if you will. But my friend that was talking to me about this, he said, you need to spread the word a little bit. And I guess that's part of what I do. Sometimes I don't do it every time. I meant to grab a couple of books that I didn't. But there's, if you're interested in such things, there's a couple of books that I can think of right away. Nicola Litch, my goodness, so good to see you on the show, darling. I'm so appreciative of your presence. The 2 books that come to mind immediately are Growing Bolder, Bolder, and Don't Go Quietly, or Do Not Go Quietly, I think it's called. Books on basically how to learn to grow as you age, as opposed to getting older, growing older. Now that's easy. It's easy to relate that to, okay, here's this 73-year-old guy telling me about getting older. No, you're getting older now. You're getting older wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you are, in whatever position you're in, you're getting older. We're all living our lives to die. And the sooner you start, the better off you're going to be, the healthier you're going to be, the more physically fit you're going to be. And being physically fit translates into health. Taking care of your body translates into well-being, and it translates into living a higher quality of life. Now, I live right now in the South. North Carolina is considered the South. And a lot of people have referred to it as the buckle of the Bible Belt. And, I'm not pointing fingers or denigrating anybody when I tell you that, by and large, people understand that in the South, there's a lot of overweight people. There's a lot of obese people. There's a lot of insane food available here. This is fast food hell, this part of the world. You can't spit without hitting a fast food joint. And I came to North Carolina and saw all kinds of fast food places I never heard of. I never heard of a Bojangles till I came down here. And there's other ones. There's Zaxby's, which I've never been in. I went to Bojangles one time. This is funny. I went to Florida for a business meeting, and I was driving back, and I was hungry. And I passed this Bojangles. They had a special 2 egg biscuit something deals for $5, whatever the hell it was. And I pulled in, and I got it. And I was talking to my wife on the phone when I got back in the car. I was leaving. I was talking to my wife on the phone as I was headed north back up here. And I said, well, I've had my once in a lifetime Bojangles experience. I didn't eat all of it because it wasn't really all edible, and I will never set foot in Bojangles again as long as I live. But there's a lot of crap that passes for food or food-like substances, as I like to say, that people consume here. And there's something in the South that I never ever experienced really in Colorado, not in the metropolitan Denver area, which is pretty much where I live most of the time. Boulder, Littleton, Denver, Golden. That was pretty much where I lived most of the time that I was in Colorado for 46 years. And the one thing I didn't experience there that really fascinated me, even coming across the country as we started to come down towards the South to Tennessee and that kind of thing, is the crushing poverty that exists in this part of the country. There are people living in houses that are barely more than shacks. There are people living in trailers that you would swear nobody was living in because it looks like Mother Earth is about to reclaim it with vines growing over it and crazy stuff. And never saw that before. I shouldn't say never saw it before. It wasn't part of my experience in Colorado. So, and we know without a doubt or question that the poorer people are, the more they are attracted to fast food, because fast food is made to be that way. It's made to be inexpensive. It's made to be easy to get your hands on, and it's not healthy. The young guy, 53 or 54 years old, just passed away. He famously did the movie Super Size Me, where he did nothing but eat McDonald's for a month, I believe. Might have been longer than that. I think a month was all he could take, and it literally destroyed his body. So the point is, it takes a little more effort to go to the grocery store and to make your own food. It takes a little more effort and perhaps sometimes a little more money, but trust me, it's only a little more money to buy good food, organic food. We buy a lot of our produce right now from a little farm around the corner from where we live. And we questioned this young farmer. His name is Justin, lovely guy. It's Cherry Hill Farm. I love the place. It's a whole family owned thing. His mother, Bonnie, works there. His wife, Holly, works there. His sons, Malachi and Eden, work there. And he's got a little daughter who I call Chatterbox. She's only 2.5 or 3 years old. She doesn't work there, but she's there all the time. But the whole family is there working. And we questioned Justin in the very early going. He can't grow organic because he just can't make it pay. And that's a crime in and of itself. Organic farming should be something easier to do because you should be using less of the expensive pesticides and so forth that Monsanto and Bayer and all these crazy chemical companies provide for you. But what he did say was he doesn't use any genetically modified seed. So in other words, if he's not using genetically modified seed, then he's not spraying anything with Roundup, because that's the main GMO that we're concerned with, the Roundup Ready GMO. He's not using that, so he can't use Roundup because if you don't know what that is, Roundup Ready seed is genetically modified seed that will grow. 95% of the corn grown in this country is GMO. It is corn that grows. And in order to keep the crop clean, if you will, they spray Roundup to kill all the weeds. But the seeds are now genetic to kill the weeds. The seeds of the corn are modified so that the corn plants no longer are affected by Roundup. It doesn't kill the corn plants. It kills everything else around them. It doesn't kill the corn plants. But what it also does is it also is drawn into the corn through roots and through leaves, and there is Roundup in the corn, and Roundup destroys the human gut. And look that up. Go look up Roundup and the human gut. Go look up Roundup and cancer. Oh, come on. What's the word? Cancer lawsuits. Okay, that's not the word I was looking for, but that's what it is. There's Bayer, who bought Monsanto, wound up on the wrong end of many, many, many lawsuits for the cancer-causing, the carcinogenic effects of Roundup. Look that up. So back to this little farm. This guy doesn't use any of that. There's none of his stuff is sprayed with Roundup. He uses as few chemicals as he can. Again, he can't grow organic, but his stuff is basically the same price or a little less than the grocery store. Now, what it does require is a little extra trip to go to the farm and get his stuff, but it's healthier for us. And we're providing our body with good plant-based nutrition that is not doing nothing but enhancing your gut as opposed to destroying your gut, which is pretty much what fast food is doing. Because trust me when I tell you, there's plenty of GMO ingredients in fast food, and everything that is GMO is full of Roundup. Roundup is, by the way, the active ingredient in Roundup is called glyphosate. Glyphosate is the killer. It accumulates in the human gut. It destroys your gut's ability to absorb food, to absorb nutrients from your food. It also destroys the gut wall, your intestinal wall. I'm sure almost everybody's heard at this point of an ailment called leaky gut. I always joke, like, what do you think you're leaking? What you're leaking is partially digested food, poop, into your system. Leaky gut is the major cause of inflammation in our bodies. It's around arthritis. It is the source point. They're pretty sure it's the source point of every single autoimmune disease we know is leaky gut. And it's all preventable by just, first and foremost, stop eating GMO food. I don't eat corn anymore, almost at all. I will eat once in a blue moon. I'll come across an organic ear of corn I will eat, but if it's not organic corn, I won't put it in my body. That also goes for high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is the single worst sweetener we have in our food supply, and it's literally in freaking everything. High fructose corn syrup is the only sweetener on the planet that short circuits the signal from your gut to your brain that you've had enough to eat. That's not a good thing. And it's also, because it's from corn, more than likely it's GMO corn. Again, 95% of the corn that's grown is GMO, and so it's full of glyphosate as well. So we're destroying our gut with our food. Your gut, okay, you probably don't know this piece. Everybody has heard about serotonin. Serotonin is kind of the feel-good neurotransmitter. And when you say neurotransmitter, everyone thinks about the brain. That's the source point of neurotransmitters, right? Not necessarily. 70% of the serotonin, 70% of the feel-good neurotransmitter that your body produces gets produced in your gut. So if you're destroying your gut, you're also destroying the pathway of that neurotransmitter. So the feel-good neurotransmitter is no longer working in your body. This is a long explanation of one of the things that we need to take into consideration with what we put in our bodies. The old expression was, you are what you eat. Folks, we are what we eat, and we're eating crap. We're eating junk. We all say junk food. There's no such thing as junk food. There's food and there's junk, but there's no junk food. It's one or the other. It is not food if it's junk. We are eating lots and lots and lots of food-like substances that are created in laboratories all over the planet by the major food producers of the world, which are now, the numbers of food producers are dwindling dramatically. Nestle's, Hershey's, General Mills. There's only a handful left of companies producing. I had a good friend that produced an incredible product for your health. It was a shake. It wasn't a shake. It was a juice, and it was amazing. It was filled with polyphenols. It was filled with antioxidants. It tasted delicious. It was fabulous. And somewhere along the line, the company was purchased by Nestle, and Nestle didn't do a lot of producing of it. They kind of put it out there a little bit and blah, 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 blah. And one year, all of a sudden, the stuff disappeared. And my friend who created it kind of relinquished all the rights to it when he sold it to them. And he was like, what the hell happened to my product? Nestle said, well, we needed a tax write-off this year and your product was it. They just stopped producing it. Good, healthy, nutritious, organic product taken off the market for a tax write-off. That's where we're at as far as our food supply goes. Those are just kind of random examples. I know that's not necessarily a pathway, but if you pay attention to what you're putting in your body, it's really, really easy to read labels. It takes a couple extra seconds. Look on the front of the label. If it says organic, bingo. Now you might have a little more sugar in there that you want, or it's never going to be perfect, but organic is way better than inorganic. And I shouldn't say inorganic, non-organic. And you do have to look. I mean, I love flour tortillas that I use for a couple of different things that Lisa and I eat. We have fajitas once in a while. We do a vegetarian meal once in a while that we use those for. Lisa likes corn tortillas. I like flour tortillas. Try and find good organic corn or flour tortillas in North Carolina. Not an easy thing to do. So it requires planning ahead when we go to Whole Foods, get them there. Does that cost a little more money? Well, you went to Whole Foods. They don't call it whole paycheck for nothing. So that's kind of a rambling example of what vibrant living is. Vibrant living is what we put into our bodies. Vibrant living starts with what we put in our bodies. Of course, it's always, you can hear me get a little bit more hoarse as the show goes on. That's because I need a little water. Monstrously important to stay hydrated. Monstrously important to stay hydrated. And as you know, I used to coach a lot of people through nutritional cleansing and weight loss protocols, and I would always talk to them in terms of drink half your body weight in ounces of water every single day. And then I would always round up to the next highest half a quart. So at my weight, I was always trying to drink three quarts of water a day, 96 ounces a day. Well, it turns out that at my age, with my organs 73 years into their existence, 96 ounces of water is too much. I got to go back down to more like 64 ounces, 2 quarts instead of 3 quarts. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to knock my camera there. So that's another piece of the puzzle. Stay hydrated. The next piece is good sleep. Now here's a real issue, because lots and lots of people are way stressed out. Lots and lots of people are spending too much time on their screens. They take their screens to bed with them. It's a general rule of thumb. You want to put that screen down at least 30 minutes before you go to bed. You want to maybe get in the habit of going to sleep at the same time every night seems to be a good habit for most people. You want your room to be as dark as you can make it. You want to wear comfortable clothes or no clothes, whatever works for you as far as how you sleep, but you want to try your damnedest to get 7 to 8 hours sleep a night. Now, I know there's lots of people out there that can sleep 3-4 hours a night, but those are really, really, really anomalies. Everybody, for the most part, everybody needs 7 to 8 hours sleep per night in order to function at their highest level. Sleep deprivation is a real epidemic in this country, because it not only, you get brain fog and blah, 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 but your whole body requires sleep to rejuvenate. That is your period of recovery when you are sleeping. Your brain and all of your organs and your body recuperate and regenerate during the time you sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, you're compromising your health. The other thing that is always a big piece to me is what's going on between your ears. What are you doing to keep your positive mindset? For me, it's all spiritual stuff. It's all meditation. It's affirmations. It's prayer work. It's reading. Reading good books. Some of you know from watching the show, I have reinvigorated an old habit of mine that goes back to my very early studies in metaphysics. But I'm reading 4, 5, 6 books at a time, and I can pick up a stack of books and I can decide which one do I want to read? Do I want to be entertained? Do I want to get deep into metaphysics? Do I want to do some personal development? What is it that what subject matter, and how heavy do I want to get? And there's always one book in there. This is a relatively new thing that I've only started doing in this year, actually, is always one book that is the entertainment book. Okay, there's great book, Being Henry, The Fonz and Beyond by Henry Winkler. Fabulous storyteller. It's a great read. It's a great book. And I really guarantee anybody who ever saw an episode of Happy Days will love it. And if you just are a fan of Fonzarelli, or if you're a fan of Henry Winkler, you love this book. And the other one that I'm reading is a real niche book. It's called Life. And it is the autobiography of Keith Richards, the amazing, gifted guitarist of the Rolling Stones. He wrote the book, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe. I've had it for a very long time. I tried to read it once and only got a quarter of the way through it and got distracted. Excuse me. And now I'm reading it again, and I'm working my way through it. It's a great book. Great story. Lisa gave it to me a long time ago. Amazing how much Keith remembers from his days doing what he's doing. So that's, that's part of the mindset piece. The final piece of the puzzle is, for me, fitness. The final piece is exercise. And there are things that happen. We have an epidemic of type 2 diabetes in this country. Nobody starts with type 2 diabetes. You work your way through, and you get more, your blood sugar gets more and more and more out of whack until you wind up pre-diabetic, which is still controllable. You can still kind of work your way out of that, and then you become diabetic. Now, according to the doctors, once you become diabetic, you'll always be diabetic, no matter how much you get your numbers back down. But what I have discovered is that aerobic exercise and cutting back on the sugar are key pieces of the puzzle. Now, the sugar thing is, this is a long story. I'm not going to go into it. I have a sweet tooth. I've always had a sweet tooth. It got worse once I got sober, because your body metabolizes alcohol and sugar pretty much the same way. So when I cut out the alcohol, all of a sudden sugar became more important to me. My body craved it. And consequently, my numbers went up. And I have always kind of danced around the pre-diabetic numbers. And you need to move. It's that simple. Cut back on the sugar, yes. White sugar is a killer, man. It's just a killer. And they've proven without a doubt that white sugar, it feeds cancer, and the lack of white sugar helps prevent cancer from growing. But the other thing is to move, and the movement is really more the aerobic exercise, and not even so much as aerobics as it is just movement, a daily walk. I do my, when I go to work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I do 30 minutes on the sit-down elliptical machine, which is good exercise for me. But I just got my blood test back today from my poke this morning, and my A1C number, the number that you really kind of measure if you're moving into pre-diabetes, my A1C number is, well, I'll tell you, it's 5.9, and what the high range of normal is 5.6. When you get to 6.1, you're pre-diabetic, and at 6.5, you are diabetic. So 5.9 is not, I'm not comfortable with that. So I need to up level that movement. I need to go for, I'm not going to go any more on the elliptical than the 3 days I already do it, but now I need to start thinking in terms of a morning walk every day. And I really have to do a morning walk, because I'll tell you what, living in this part of the world, an evening walk is out of the question, baby. It's hot and muggy, and it's like, no, thank you. I'm not walking anywhere. So that's a quick take on what I consider vibrant living and vibrant aging. They go hand in hand. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it starts now. I don't care how old you are. I first started lifting weights as a teenager, as a 13-year-old teenager. So I had just turned 13 when I started lifting my first weights, because I have a strangely shaped body and I had no muscles and blah, blah, blah. And I started working out with weights. Now, then there was that period of time. I did that for a long time, and then I kind of backed off, and then I got serious into my years of abuse, if you will, my addictions, and that kind of fell off big time. One of the first things I did when I got sober was go back into exercise, and that was in my late 30s. So it doesn't matter how old you are, exercise works. Exercise helps forestall the aging process. There is literally nothing more potent at forestalling the aging process than continuing to build lean muscle on your body every single day of your life for the rest of your life. And they've proven with innumerable studies that light workouts with 10-pound weights have added muscle to 80-plus-year-old bodies, male and female. So, and I'm here to tell you, as I mentioned earlier, I'm 73, and in the last year, I've added at least 6-7 pounds of muscle, maybe 8, just from being consistent and moving my body. In that book I mentioned earlier in the show, Growing Bolder, my favorite line in that book is, if you want to keep moving, you got to keep moving. End of story. That's all I got for you today. I hope there was something there that that was in some way, shape, or form enlightening. I want you to always remember that the New Thought Media Network is a nonprofit organization. If you would please go to ntmedia.org, that's newthoughtmedia.org, ntmedia.org, click on donate. We are always immensely grateful for anything and everything you deign to donate to us. We are very grateful for all of that. You can find me on Facebook at Vibrant Aging. That goes hand in hand with Vibrant Living here, this show. Vibrant Aging is the other aspect of that. And my beloved Lisa and I have a branded Facebook page called just that. Email me, teamrockitnow@gmail.com. And as always, remember that this show is sponsored by HempWorks, the #1 distributor, direct-to-consumer distributor of CBD and hemp-infused products in the world. And the reason for that is because it is the cleanest, purest, highest quality, and most potent products that you're going to find anywhere, with the largest selection of various products, but also the largest selection of oils. And you can get the oils in full spectrum, which is the legal limit of 0.3% or less THC. You can get them in broad spectrum with no THC whatsoever. So if you take a very sensitive test for work, or if you have a rare allergy to THC, there's none in the broad spectrum. I use the full spectrum because I like the idea of having the additional cannabinoid in there besides the CBD. You get it in 3 different concentrations, 500, 750, and 1500 milligrams. And I don't even know how many flavors we have, 7, 6, 5, whatever the heck it is, more flavors than anybody has. I stick with peppermint because I really like it. Also, just a real interesting product is our hemp-infused coffee, 5 milligrams of CBD in every cup, along with some chaga mushrooms and other things for your health. I love that coffee because I can drink that late in the afternoon and it never affects my sleep at night. I don't know why that is, but it's just really just a great drink. So once again, let's go back to newthoughtmedia.org, ntmedia.org. Click on donate. I am always immensely grateful for the great gift of your time and your attention. I wish you, as always, all the love and all the blessings the universe has to offer. I hope you will join me every Thursday, 2 o'clock Mountain Time, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Until the next time, my friends, namaste.